previously on Gearz.
Speaking of bands that are in the country, they are called Boys in the Band. All right. And we've got David and Simon. David's from Canada.
Canada, eh?
He's from Canada.
Take off, you hoser.
And we've got, you know that one of our best friend listeners is from Montreal. His name's Ernesto Negro.
C'est bon. He must speak French.
No, he's Italian.
Is Italian? Oh,
Ernie
molto
Black.
bene.
Ernie Black. So David's from Canada, and Simon's from Australia.
From the land down under, that's right.
Nothing wrong with that. You see, I know why you like it. Look at bloody too freaking good looking.
Well, this is great. This is visual radio. This is like back home, you have to be ugly to be on radio. Everyone's good looking here.
Well, the only reason I'm on it is because we've got to put in this in Disi.
Whatever.
So it makes up for everything.
You're the Italian stallion. You're hottie.
Boys in the Band. And you know, Disi was actually apologizing a little bit off air. We're a little bit embarrassed that we've only got to know you so late on your tour.
Yeah, no, look, it was one of those things. We met this lovely girl called Sarah, and she said, "You've got to call Disi. They've got this great show," and we got in touch, and we've had a great season so far. We've done a week at the Joburg Theatre, the Mandela, and it's just been phenomenal. The response to the show has been amazing. We've got 4 shows left, so as they say, better late than never.
That's very true.
Or better late than pregnant.
Oh, my word.
I haven't heard that. I like that.
That's
That's clever.
That's
ooh.
Now listen, what is Boys in the Band? Come on, Simon, tell us a little bit. What is this?
It's going to be, look, it's 50 years of some of the best music ever. Like Dave had this concept, following shows like the resurgence of things like the Jersey Boys with Four Seasons music was like, let's take what happened in the 90s with the boy band, with things like, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Human Nature, all these sort of guys. Let's trace it back another 40 or 50 years to where it started, with groups in the 50s like the Drifters, the Platters, the Four Tops, the Four Seasons. These guys that weren't termed a boy band at the time, but when you look back at the recipe, it's the same thing. So there's always been boy bands, but never termed that boy band thing. So we thought, let's take it back and let's do a journey of these guys from the 50s right through the 90s and do all their biggest hits as we go. So we start off with the Four Seasons, we do the Beatles, the Jackson 5, the Bee Gees, a bit of Simon and Garfunkel, the Beach Boys, and then we finally end the show on the 90s with your Backstreet Boys, your Human Nature, Take That, those sort of guys, yeah.
Are all the guys hot like you?
Well, look, I'm going to say, I'd like to be the better looking one, but no, they're all very handsome.
There's 4 guys cast in the show.
Okay.
And they all have to sing, they all have to dance, and they all have to look fantastic. They're very handsome, hip young guys, and the response has been amazing. Last night was ladies' night.
Oh, my
the theater.
goodness.
Yeah, it was,
So
my goodness indeed.
the place was going off, and they're dancing in the aisles and singing, and we do, especially during the Bee Gees stuff. I think it's
a winner.
Everybody up, but not the
Amazing.
concept. When I was in London seeing the Jersey Boys, and I know that was just here recently, and I love the concept of that, of just 4 guys on the stage telling this great story through music. So I thought, well, what if we took that and then we just progress through the next 5 decades? And the formula has worked beautifully, because even though I love the Jersey Boys and I thought it was a great show, I don't necessarily want to hear 2 hours of Frankie Valli singing Sherry,
100%.
100%. And then, what happened? Why was Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons knocked off the charts? What was the band that did that? Well, it was the Beatles.
Yeah.
The Beatles arrived in the U.S. and just smashed Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons. And then you tell the story of the Beatles and their little journey. So it's great because the show has an element of huge variety of music, but also telling a great little story and things that people wouldn't have thought of. We touch on Lennon and McCartney, and Simon and Garfunkel, the Righteous Brothers. So it's, of course, the Beach Boys.
Yeah, of course. I'm listening to everything you're saying. This recipe that you've found, I got to tell you, it's unique. And I'll tell you why, because you're playing at the Joburg Theatre.
Yep.
We have these sort of, I wouldn't say community theatres, but in a way they are the barnyard theatres around.
We've heard of Barnyard. It's pretty popular, actually.
Yeah, very popular. But they would go and do a specific era.
Sure.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, where you now are tackling and going, we'll do the Beatles, we'll do the Bee Gees, we'll do Frankie Valli, we'll go, I don't know, you most probably won't touch the Rolling Stones, but eventually, as you say, you're going into Backstreet Boys. And this kind of music, and that era, the 90s boy band music, sort of got lost
It did.
It did, yeah, yeah.
There was some brilliant pop music, but it sort of got lost. And now to bring it back, all of a sudden you sit there and say Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, that kind of stuff.
Because it's almost got a vintage feel to it now, which is cool again. You know?
Got such a great pop rhythm.
I mean, at the end of the show, obviously we finished with the 90s because, as Simon was saying, that it tops and tails what the boy band became. And the great thing about the show, as soon as we go into Backstreet's Back, that ba ba ba, and the audience just goes bum bum, and they go crazy.
Yeah.
And the choreography is it's sensational. I think that's the amazing challenge that the boys have to. This is a show that I wish somebody wrote for me 10, 15 years ago, because they're up there and they're on this amazing journey, and they all have to dance. I mean, they're all brilliant dancers and singers. Another thing a critic pointed out the other day, we got an amazing review. I think it was from Suzanne, I can't remember now, but she hit it right on the head. She said, I've seen a lot of tribute shows that, they're fine, and they, but all you're getting the whole night is one style of music, and that's it. And she said, seeing the boys in the band was like being in a 1950s soda pop
sort of commercial, or
like a bottle, like a milk bar,
having a root beer, and that nostalgic sort of essence of the show really translated to her, and I thought she's just got it right on the head. That's exactly what the show's about.
Well, the other thing that works too is, I mean, often with a tribute show, you get 10, 15 songs, you get the song in entirety, and you're like, cool, we tend to find when you do a gig, even when you're at a live concert or whatever, people get a third, halfway through a song, they're like, okay, next song. So the way ours is structured, instead of entirety of song, you get a medley of each of the groups. So when we do a Beatles medley, it's 5 or 6 songs of the Beatles, just the best parts, like the verse, the chorus, and then just when it's peaking, we move on to the next song. So the energy just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. It just doesn't stop. It's like a freight train.
How long is the show, Dave?
Well, there's two acts, 45 to 48 minutes. So it's about 50-minute act. So you're getting 100 minutes of music. There's over 50 songs that we touch on, but there's some lovely light and shade it was funny, we were talking the other day, it was John Lennon's birthday.
Yes.
I think 2 days
I think 2 days ago, yeah.
And what we realized was our show finale is Imagine Let It Be. So we thought it'd be a really nice moment in the show to dedicate it to John Lennon and Paul McCartney. And obviously the Beatles story, of course you could tell that in one night, but we touch on it with the earlier stuff, and then we top and tail it with the Imagine Let It Be. And it's kind of hard to, it's impossible to top that.
It really is such a great ending to the show. We kind of have all the energy of the 90s. We've just finished the Bee Gees, where people have gone berserk, and then you can sort of pull back in, find this focus, and Imagine Let It Be are probably like 2 of the greatest songs of all time. And the way we mash them up together, and with this big sort of orchestral arrangement, and it's a big sort of gospel feel at the end, it just hammers home. So it's a good way to end a show.
I mean, I don't know.
Awesome.
I'm telling you, I'm so excited. I haven't even seen the damn thing.
You only got a couple of days left. You got to come on, man.
I know.
A show tonight. We've got a
2 on Saturday.
No,
right?
we'll talk about that. We'll
later.
talk about that.
But I was going to say, Disi, by the way, your lovely friend Sarah has asked you if you'll come on Saturday night to the show and come meet the boys after.
I'd love to.
And have a signed autograph session and a drink with the boys.
Oh, that would be awesome. I have such a pretty date. Sarah's very pretty.
She
is
is
a
rather pretty.
darling girl.
Sasha's jealous. That sounds
Sasha,
awesome.
you sure don't want to come?
Disi, the difference is you're going to get their autographs.
Oh.
They don't want yours. Okay. Listen, we've got boys in the band here. We've got David and Simon. We're going to be carrying on chatting with them. We're going to play you one of the medleys. It's the Jackson 5 medley. Do you just want to tell anything about it, or should we just have a go?
This is the opening of Act 2. So we finished Act 1 with things like the 50s, and we close Act 1 with the Beach Boys. Quick break, and then we come out with Jackson 5. And I mean, Jackson 5's been a hit here in South Africa. It works everywhere. So this is it.
Have a listen. This is what you're going to be watching. Oh, man. I tell you, if that doesn't get your foot tapping, nothing will. Boys in the band, the Jackson 5 medley. They're in South Africa at the moment. They've only got 4 shows left. Kenneth Stewart on Twitter just says, hey, guys, those boys' songs, amazing. Please ask him if they're coming to London.
Coming to London? Well, we'd like to. We talked about a Europe tour, didn't we, Dave?
Right.
Yeah, we're actually working on a European US tour. And the most exciting thing for us is that we've done a lot of big concerts at Australia, festivals, Asia, China, but this is our first international
Terrific
concert. So how nice that we were able to come to Johannesburg.
And has it gone well?
It's gone great. I mean, the most amazing thing to me is after the show, the people's reaction.
Yeah.
The boys do a signing and the people are all staying around wanting to meet the boys and chat. And just hearing the little comments in the room is been phenomenal. And of course, seeing them dancing in the aisles and people getting up. The boys are getting standing ovations, on most
I'm
of
sure
the shows.
lots of excited ladies
Lots
too.
of
There's been a couple of those, yeah. There's been a few excited gentlemen too. We're like, whoa.
That's true. Let's not forget the excited gentlemen.
There we go. Speaking of which, it's very nice to say hello to everyone in Australia.
It is.
This evening.
They're all
Who's
watching
listening
us,
to
which
us?
is exciting.
They're
From across
watching
the-
and listening
yeah.
to us.
Hi, everybody back home. We're missing you.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
I'm the Australian fan. Sasha isn't.
I love Australia.
They call me Matilda on the show.
Yeah, well, that's your middle
Waltzing,
name.
Yeah.
It's not.
It is your middle name.
It is not.
Your mother told me it's your middle name. Listen,
That
I
is
wanted
a
to
lie.
ask you guys. Dave, you guys, I mean, your energy levels are hectic. 50 minutes at a time, singing, dancing, jumping around,
Yep.
hectic stuff.
There's not much time for break. It's pretty full on. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the background band. Do you source locally? Do you who do you take with you as permanent people?
Well, when we were setting up the tour, this was the big question. What do? You travel with a local band. But my musical director, Pat Madden, is the drummer.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool because often musical directors are the keyboard player. But who sets the tempos in the band?
You got your drummer. Yeah.
The drummer. So I met Pat. He was working on a show here a year ago called Burn the Floor.
Okay.
That's been here a couple times.
Which was at the theatre we're playing at, right?
Yeah, it was at the Mandela Joburg.
Yeah.
And he had worked with a couple of musicians, and Bernard J., who runs the Mandela, also had some contacts. And he said, "Look, I think you'd be fine, sourcing some great musicians here." So we met them online. We did the Skype thing. We had the chat.
Sent them the charts.
We sent them the charts.
And
So
they
we
went,
did-
oh my God, look at this material.
so we've ended up with 3 stunning musicians. Kelly on bass, Kelly Gilbert on bass.
Yep.
We've got Raymond
Raymond Vischter on the
Vischter
keys.
on
yeah.
keys.
Okay.
He's
Brilliant
also
guy.
a musical
Yeah.
director in his own right.
And a singer as well.
And a
Yeah.
singer. And we've got an amazing guitarist called Jethro.
Jethro Stanger.
Stanger.
And Jethro, I think they should name a guitar after him. This guy is wicked, and he's got about 4 or 5 big guitar riffs and solos in the show that go berserk.
So
Oh,
I was really
fantastic.
thrilled that we were able to incorporate a local element and use local musicians in it. And the amazing thing is, and this is what I think is a testament to the musicianship, they have to play 100 minutes of music. Now, we've only been doing the show for what?
Week and a half, just over,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're
yeah.
not even looking at their music anymore.
Yeah.
They're on
Brilliant.
stage
Good.
partying. So you've got the boys in the band that are dancing their butts off. And then on the next level, you've got the band who has this other party going on. And between the two, it's a
It's a
fantastic
good vibe,
night.
rather than having orchestra and musicians in a pit, which is what the last shows
Yeah.
were. They're like, we're stuck in the pit, we don't see the
Yeah.
actors, we don't see the singers. They're on stage. They get to get dressed up, they wear their sharp suits, they get to have the energy going. So,
And they interact with the boys.
yeah, equally as part of the show as what we are. If yeah.
So cool.
It really, I mean, listen, besides the fact that you guys are great salesmen, it sounds like one hell of
Wanna
a
buy
show.
a watch?
Yeah. One hell of a show. And I'm desperately upset that I'm going to miss it, but Disi's definitely going to come
Maybe
along.
next time we come back.
Definitely. Well, I was going to ask. I mean, has it been successful enough to sit there and say, "Wow, this is not a bad start to our international
Yes.
leg"? We're going to work on a new show, etc., etc.,
Well,
and we're going to come back and we're going to make sure that South Africa is definitely on the calendar.
We definitely come back. We come back on a heartbeat. We've had an amazing time. I guess the only sad thing for me and disappointing thing is it's only been a 2-week season.
Yeah.
I'd love to have, the way the theater books, they have fantastic stuff coming in all the time at the Joburg, and they kind of work on a 2-week season and a longer season for the pantomime. So they could only offer us a 2-week season, and we weren't originally coming to 2014.
Okay.
But Bernard J., the guy that runs the theater, said, "Look, we've just had a cancellation. Do you want to try an earlier season?" We just jumped at it.
Well, listen, hopefully, they as excited and as happy as you are, and next year they go, well, let's cut the pantomime a little bit and
Extend the
let's give
season,
boys in the
yeah,
band
yeah,
a little bit more time.
Well, if there's any indication of people's reaction, we're getting a bit of a following here, which is good. So maybe next time we could come back, do a season in Joburg that's a bit longer. Maybe head down south, go to Cape Town, do some of the other capital cities. I
Brilliant.
really, Durban's got some good entertainment as well.
Yeah.
So
PE
yeah.
rocks.
Where, sorry? PE? Port Elizabeth, yeah.
Port Elizabeth. Why don't
Yeah.
we open in Port Elizabeth?
We should actually, yeah. You want to hook us up with a season there?
Do you know how many
Have-
people will support it?
Yeah.
But where are they going to play? In like
The Boardwalk Hotel. It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah?
See, there you go.
What, in like a hotel
It's
room?
like no, they had
Have they
they
got
had
like a-
Smokey or whatever the other day.
Who?
there.
Robinson?
Smokey.
No, what they called?
There was a band called Smokey. Yeah.
It was. It's
Who the
old.
is Alice? That band. What
And
did
you should have seen the people.
What did they
were
perform
flocking
on?
in.
With they come on a Zimmer frame or?
No, they were still healthy. Anyway, so yeah, I've just put PE in there too.
Okay, we'd like to hear the PE.
Listen, it is so. It's as I mentioned right at the beginning. We wish we'd had you here even before you guys started the tour. But great to have you here nonetheless. There's still 4 shows left, so it's going to be 2 tomorrow and 2 on Sunday.
Yeah, 1 on Sunday. So
One
one
on
tonight
Sunday.
being Friday, 2
one
on
tonight,
Saturday.
sorry.
Yeah, and the final one Sunday.
The final one Sunday.
Yeah.
So,
And I must apologise to the fans. Sunday, I'm going to have to haul it straight to the airport. I've got to get straight back home. So, but the boys will be there to sign autographs, take some pictures. So
Terrific.
come and say hi after the show. That's the best part. We get to meet the fans. Yeah.
It's gonna be brilliant. So get hold of Joburg Theatre and get some tickets. Thanks very much, David. Thank you very much, Simon,
Not a
for
problem.
coming through.
Thanks, you, Sasha.
Thanks for having us on air.
Guys,
Yeah.
we'll see you
Tomorrow.
tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night for you. Yeah.
Really wish you great for the last 4 shows and definitely come back.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you, Sasha.
GearzOnBalls.co.za with Sasha Martinengo and Disi Fensham.
Weekdays 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.